DaVinci Resolve is an awesome video editor for Mac, for PC, and for Linux. So in this video, we're going to run through a complete tutorial for beginners with everything that you need to know, all the key features, and a ton of video editing tips to get you cutting videos like a pro fast in DaVinci Resolve. Hey, it's Justin Brown here from Primal Video, where we help you grow an audience and scale your revenue with online video. If you're new here, make sure you click that subscribe button, and all the links to everything we mentioned in this video you can find linked in the description box below. So let's jump into it. Now I've got to tell you, this is one of our most requested videos. DaVinci Resolve has actually taken out the top spot in several categories of our best video editing software reviews for the past few years, both on the PC and Mac side of things. So if you're interested in checking out our latest roundup of best video editing software, then I've included links to those in the description. But in this video though, we're going to fast track your editing with Resolve. Whether you're brand new to it or whether you've been using Resolve for a while, I'll be giving you a full tutorial for beginners with everything that you need to know, all the key features to be aware of, plus a ton of pro tips to help you maximize your efficiency along the way. Now, the fastest way to edit your videos down in the most efficient and effective way is to follow a streamlined process. So throughout this video, I'm going to be sharing with you our Primal video method process, which is the fastest and the most efficient way of editing your videos down with minimal wasted time and rework. So I'm going to be taking you through these steps in this video, but at the end, I will link to where you can download your copy of the Primal video method to follow along while you're editing your videos, no matter which video editing software you're going to be using.
Okay, this is the first thing you'll see when you open up DaVinci Resolve. This is your project manager window. This is where you can open up existing projects that you might already have on the go, or you can start a new one. And you can sort them in here by adding folders as well. But for now, we're just going to go new project. And let's call this Justin Edit. And we'll go create. So this is the DaVinci Resolve interface. And the first thing to notice is down the bottom here, you have these different areas of working, or different workspaces. So you've got your media, you've got your cut for basic edits, you've got your edit area, which is where you're going to do the bulk of your video editing. Fusion here is really your special effects and motion graphics and all of that kind of stuff. Next one across is color. This is where you can do all your color grades, color correction. Fairlight is for all of the audio stuff, and all of your pro audio tools are in here. And deliver, this is where you have control over exporting and rendering out your video projects. So typically with any project, you're going to work from left to right. So we're going to come back across to the media area here. Now, just before we start bringing in all of our footage and video assets, the first thing that you want to do is to make sure that your project is set up correctly. So you want to come down the bottom here to this settings button, and then this is where you can configure all of the settings and everything for your video. The main ones that you want to change in here are your timeline resolution. So you can see here we're currently set to Ultra HD. For this one, we're going to go to 1080p, 1920 by 1080. You can then select your timeline frame rate. For us, the bulk of the footage that we're going to be using today is 25 frames per second. So we're going to set this to 25. But it's likely you're going to be selecting 24, 25, or 30 based on the footage that you're going to be editing. And whatever you select here for timeline frame rate, you want to make sure that you're selecting the same one down here under playback frame rate 2. And likewise for the next one down here, video format, you want to match that again. So we've got 1080p 24, or we're using 1080p 25. So we'll want to pick here 1080p 25. Now, obviously there's a lot of other settings in here we can go through. We're not going to have time to cover them all, but just cover off the main ones that you need to get you going. So now that you've got your settings in there, if you do want to save a preset, just come back to presets, hit save, give your preset a name. So we can go 1080p 25. And go OK. And we've now got all of those settings that we've applied saved as this preset. So next time we just can come back in here and load this preset. Okay, so we can close out of this now, and we can come across and start to import our video footage. Now, as with any video editing application, there's lots of different ways to do the same thing. My personal preference is to come down to the media pool here, right click and choose import media, and find the footage that you want to import. So we could go footage, camera 1, camera 2. If you hold down Control or Command, you can select multiple clips and hit open, and they will be imported. Or the other way that you can do it is you can literally just drag and drop. If you've got a folder like we do on the desktop here, we can drag this folder into the media pool, and that will import all of those clips into our project for us. So you can see the footage that we just brought in. We've got two files, camera 1 and camera 2 off one of our YouTube videos. We've got two music tracks here, and we've got some B-roll or some overlay footage of the Elgato Stream Deck. So now that we've got all of our media in, or our video assets in, the next step is to start cutting that down. There's two different ways you can do this. DaVinci Resolve does have a cut area or a cut workspace where you can start to trim down your footage with some very basic tools here. So this could be ideal if you're going to cut down a heap of different clips, but my personal preference is to just jump straight into the edit area and to start to build out the story and build out your edit all within this one workspace. So the next step here is to bring in all of our primary video footage, the actual story content or the primary content of your video. So we're going to grab camera 1. I'm just going to drag it down onto the timeline here. So this here is our timeline interface. You can see as we click and scrub across here, we're able to move through the footage back and forth. Up the top here is our playback monitor. This is what our finished product is going to look like. And over here we have our preview window. So if I want to preview any of our clips, I can just click and drag them into this area here. And as I click and drag along here, then I'm able to scrub through this footage here. Now we have our playback controls here. If we want to play through the footage, we can hit play. If we want to zoom in and out on our timeline, we can grab this little slider bar here, and you can see we can zoom all the way out, zoom all the way in, get more control or more perspective over our edit. Or we can use these two little buttons here, detail zoom, which will jump straight into where our playback head is, or our playback indicator, this orange line. Or if we want to zoom back out to see our entire edit, then we can click this one here, full zoom, and that'll pull us back out. Now, if we want to change how the clips on our timeline look, we can come over here, press this button here, and we get to customize up that view. So if we want to turn off our audio waveforms there, then we can press this button here, and those are off. I'll put them back on. I like to have them on. We can customize up the way the video piece looks. If we just want one thumbnail image at the start and at the end, we can select this next view. Or if we want no thumbnail images or no pictures at all, then we can turn them off completely. And this can be really handy to customize this up if you are working on a really large or really complicated project. Now, I personally like it with the film view or the little thumbnail images. And you can change the track height down the bottom here. You can see it's a little bit smaller now. We can make that bigger or smaller using the slider down the bottom. And we'll turn audio waveforms back on, and you can customize up the view for the audio waveforms here as well. Go ahead and make that a little bit bigger. So for me, I just like to have things at a size where I can easily see which clip I'm working on, and I can clearly see the audio in there as well. Now, one other thing I like to do before I get started is just to maximize the screen real estate here, so we've got a bit more room. So I have to come up here and press on this button here to hide that panel, and then grab this side here and shrink it down so that we've got a bit more real estate to play with. All right, now for the editing. We've got our base footage in here. The first step here is to start trimming this down. So I will zoom in on our timeline here using the slider. And the idea here is we're going through and we're doing a quick pass, and we're removing any of the bad takes or any of the mistakes or any footage that you 100% don't want in your finished product. There's a few different tools that you can use to do this. So we can grab our playback head here and we can scrub through, or we can just hit play. Now we can move our cursor back here to the start of the clip. You can see that the cursor actually changes. We can click and drag back this way, and our video clip is now going to start at this point. So we remove all of that stuff at the start of our clip. Now, what we have got at the start of our video here, though, is some blank space. So we can click on that and just press delete, and now our actual video starts at this point too. So that's one way, just using these handles here on the end to slide it in and out. Now let's say that there was a mistake in this first take here, and we actually want to start the video here. We could just grab that handle at the start of the clip and slide it back as we just did, or we can press B on the keyboard to bring up the blade tool, and we can just click on that place, and we've actually cut our clip in two different areas. So we can go through and add cuts in our timeline or in our clips just by clicking with the blade tool. So we can go through and we could select all of these areas where there is no audio. So there's no audio in this section here, and we can start to remove some of the gaps that way. So by using this blade tool, we're slicing up our footage. Then we can press A on the keyboard to come back to our arrow, or you can come up here and select the arrow. We can select this clip. And if you press delete with that clip selected, we're going to just remove that clip without closing the gap. If we undo that now and we select that clip again and press shift delete, then that's going to remove it and close the gap. So likewise with this one, we can press shift delete and we have removed that section from our video. Now you can actually use a combination of these as well. So we could come over here to this clip, click and drag this back to remove the start of it, select that gap in the middle, press delete, and we have closed up the gap. So there's no right or wrong with this stuff. It's just knowing which tools you've got access to. to be able to edit your video down fast. Now, the other tool that I love and I use a lot is called a ripple edit or a trim top or trim tail. Now, I've just shown you how you can add a cut in our footage here. And we can then select this clip and press delete and then close up the gap. But using ripple edit left or ripple edit right, we're able to do all of that with some keyboard shortcuts with really one press. So let's say that we want to finish our clip here. At this point, we want to delete this section and close up the gap and move all of this stuff back. All we need to press is Command Shift and square bracket right, or Control Shift square bracket right. And obviously if we want to go back the other way, let's say that we want to start this clip here at this point and remove all of this, then we can use Command or Control Shift and square bracket left. And we have removed all of the stuff to the left of that clip. Now, while you're going through and trimming down and editing your clips, you can also pick them up and move them around. So you can click on them, you can lift them up if you want them out of the way and you want to move some clips and things around, or you might even want to swap the order of them. So you can pick them up and swap them straight in. It's really like a big game of shapes and Tetris here, where you can pick up your clips and move them around. So we might want this one here a little bit further down. We can click on that one. Now, if we just let it go here, that's going to overwrite that footage. So the footage that was underneath it is now gone. We'll undo that. So now that you know some of the most common ways to trim your footage down, in this step, we're going to go through and remove anything that you 100% don't want in your video. Remove all of the gaps, remove all of the bad takes, but your focus here is on building out the content or building out the story of your edit. Okay, so now that you've gone through and you've done your first pass of refining this edit down, the next step is to start to add in some of your B-roll or some of your overlay footage to really help your viewers stay engaged, but also understand what it is you're talking about in your video. So if we come up the top here to some of our B-roll footage, we can just move our mouse cursor left and right on this to find where we want that clip to start, and press I on the keyboard to mark an in point. And if we scrub across here, let's say we want it right when it hits the other edge there, before it bounces back, about here, and press O on the keyboard, we've now marked an in and an out. So you can see we've selected just this section of that much bigger clip. Now, if I click and drag this down to the timeline, we've just got that section of the clip. Now you can see it's also got audio added to it. If we don't want the audio, we can either mute it by grabbing this little line and pulling it down, or we can alt click or option click just that audio piece to not select the video as well. And we can just press delete, and now that clip has no audio associated with it. Now, obviously the other way that we could bring our footage in is just to bring in that entire clip into our timeline. We can again option click or alt click the sound if we don't want it on there. And we can just use our regular tools to find the start and the end point of the clips that we want to use. So say we started around there, play it through to where we want to stop it. Now you can see here that our cursor is snapping or jumping to these edits in our timelines. If you don't want that and you want more control, then just turn off this button here, the snap tool, and that's going to give you a greater amount of control. So I do find myself turning that on and off quite a bit throughout the edits, but find where we want this to finish, select our clip, and we're going to cut off the end of this using Command Shift square bracket right to remove all of that. So again, lots of different ways to essentially do the same thing when you're video editing. So we'll go back to our other clip here. Just double click on that to open in this preview monitor. And let's see what else we've got in the clip here. Another pan across. Let's start that. So we'll press I on the keyboard to mark an in point, about there. O to mark an out point. We've got this section selected. Now you can click and drag again to bring in both the audio and the video. But if I put this back up here now, you can see what's appeared down the bottom is we can just grab the video or just the audio. So if we only want the video piece, we can click on that and drag that down and see that we don't have the audio that comes down with it. And let's put it about here. So go through in this step and add in all of your B-roll or overlay footage. And as you're going through, you might find that you're making some minor edits to your timeline, tweaking and adjusting some of the clips, all just to refine your edit down and to build out the story. So your video editing here really is an iterative process where you're going through, making tweaks and adjustments and building this out on each pass. So the next step then is to bring in any audio or any music into your videos if you want audio or music in your video. So we're going to come up here, we're going to grab this music track and drag it down into our timeline here. And just the same as we did with all of our video clips, you've got the ability to pick up your audio track to move it around. You can adjust the start and end points using all of those same tools, these handles, using the blade tool, or using ripple edit left and right. So let's make sure this finishes at the end of our video. clip selected, Command Shift square bracket right, or Control Shift square bracket right, and our song is going to finish at that point. Now, if you want to add a fade in and a fade out to this music track, then you can move your mouse cursor up to this little top marker here and pull it back in. And you can see that we've got a time indicator there that's shown. So let's just say this is about 4 seconds. So what this means is that our audio is going to play through here at a normal volume level. When it hits this marker for 4 seconds, it's going to drop that down to a 0 volume level. So it's going to fade it out to nothing. Likewise, if you want one at the start, you want to fade your audio in, we can pull that little marker in for as long as you want that transition or that effect to come into play. So now that you've got your music in and you've gone through and refined your edit even further, it's now time to add any text or any titles or graphic elements into your video. So let's come back towards the start here. We'll come up the top here to Effects Library, and let's come down here to Titles. Now the titles at the top here are your basic text titles that you can add in and customize up, and your Fusion titles are a little bit more advanced. So you can see here we've got a lot of 3D ones. I'll just drag one of these out so you can see what we're talking about. And if we scrub through this, you can see we've got first line of text, spins around, second line of text, and then it slides back out. So there's a lot more advanced titles and things in here as well that you can use. I'm going to select that, go ahead and delete it. We're just going to grab basic text here, drag this out, and you can see it definitely is basic text. Now we're going to double click on this, and that's going to open up our inspector palette up the top here. This is where we can customize this up. So if we select the title here or the text here, we can type in Justin Brown. We can change our fonts. Let's go down to, or up to Oswald. Let's make it bold. We can adjust the size. We could make it all capitals if we want. We can rotate it, change the position of it. We can also add a drop shadow, stroke, background, so you can customize it up quite a bit in here. Let's just move it down to the bottom corner here somewhere. And for more finer controls, we can come back over to this position X and Y, and we can move it up and down. Let's move it over to the side a little bit. And maybe we'll change the color to be Primal Video Blue. Okay, maybe we'll make this a little bit smaller. Let's put it down in the bottom corner here. Let's move it across. Now let's turn on background so we can read it. Let's adjust the width down and the height down. Okay, something simple like that. Now this clip, just like all the other ones, we can adjust the start and the end time on it. So if you zoom in now, I'll show you what this looks like. Zoom in so you can see that as we play through here now, when we hit that title, the title appears and then it disappears at the end. And again, you can adjust the length and everything of these and pick them up and move them around just as you can with any other clip. So this step here is to go through and add in all of your titles, all of your text, whether it's for a section header, whether it's a list of text you want to bring up on screen. These are the tools that you use to add all of your text in. Once all your text and titles are in, the next step is to add in any effects or transitions to your video. So if you've still got this panel here open on the side, they're in here as well. If not, come up to Effect Library and then down to Video Transitions. Now, video transitions is one of the easiest ways that people can make their videos look really bad by going overboard with silly looking transitions or too many transitions. So I would suggest that you're using these sparingly and using them as a storytelling element or to add a little bit of polish to your videos, but do not go overboard with transitions. So let's say that instead of just appearing, we want this title to fade in. We could come over here to a cross dissolve and click and drag it and drop it on our clips. You can see we've now got one at the start. Let's put one at the end as well. And as we play through this now, that title is fading on. Now let's say we want to adjust the speed of that fade. We can come down here and we can make it shorter. So it's a quick fade, or we want it a long, slow fade. We can stretch that out as well. So if we scrub through now, it fades on, and at the end, it fades off. Really simple. Likewise, you can apply this to any clip. Let's grab a dip to cross dissolve and put it on the start of this one here. So if we scrub through this one here now, instead of just appearing, it's now going to dip to white or flash to white. And then when it comes back from white, it's now our B-roll or our overlay footage. So this could be like a little camera flash. So let's just scrub through this. You can see what it looks like. I finished talking, and it slowly fades to white and then back. Now, obviously with this one here, we could speed this right up as well. So it is like a little camera flash. Much quicker. So there's lots of little things that you can add, just to add a little bit of polish, a little bit of style to your video without just using hard jump cuts. But again, I would suggest that you're using these things sparingly. And there's lots of other ones in here as well. But the other one that we use from time to time is a wipe. And if we delete that, I'll show you the other one here. Slide, it's very similar. Scrub through this, just sliding it off the screen. Now for us, we don't normally use too many transitions in our videos, but in a case we've got a hard cut between two different clips here, maybe I've made a mistake, it's likely I've made a mistake, we've cut it out and there is a hard cut. You could apply some sort of transition, you could leave it as just a cut, or you could zoom in on one of these two clips just to make it look a little bit different. And then this is typically what we'll do. So in this case, we'll select this second clip here. We'll come up the top here to video. Now you can either just tick the box here for dynamic zoom, and that's going to jump in or punch in a little bit on that shot. Or for me personally, I don't really use that. I'll come over here to zoom, and I will just zoom in a little bit on the shot here. And the trick to really make this work if you're doing it on a shot where there's someone on camera is to try and keep the eyes in a very similar position. So it's just a subtle zoom in or a subtle change of shot without it being too jarring. So we might move our second one down a little bit here just to try and get them a little bit closer. And down a little bit more, and maybe across a little bit. Now it doesn't need to be perfect, but it's just a little bit to break up the shot so it's not just a hard cut all the time. All right, so go through, add in all of your video transitions or video effects, and then we're going to adjust your audio levels. Now with the audio tracks down the bottom here, what we're going to look at first is our spoken audio, the actual core audio for our video. So we are going to mute the music. So the only thing that we hear is the stuff that I'm actually saying. Now, if you are a more advanced user, you're likely going to be doing this over in the Fairlight area where you have so much more control and features and pro level tools in here just for audio. But for most people, and for me personally, I do most of my audio adjustments just here on the edit window, as you would in most video editing applications. But what I do enable is the audio mixer. So you want to come up here to Workspace, then down to Show Panel in Workspace, and select Mixer. This is going to give you volume controls here on the side. So you can see here we've got a volume level for audio 1, which is our audio 1 track here. We've got a volume level for our audio track 2, which is our music track in this case. And then we've got main 1, which is our overall master volume. So if we want to make a volume adjustment to all of our audio 1, we can boost the volume up here or lower it down here. And exactly the same for all of our music. Or we can actually adjust our audio on a clip-by-clip basis. So let's just go back to the start of our project here and hit play, and let's gauge what audio levels our content is. Landscape constantly changing. Here's our latest roundup of the best video editing software for Mac right now, including free, paid, and professional. So you can see it's mainly in the yellow with some of it going into the red, but what you definitely don't want is to have your audio hitting the top, hitting the 0, and have it peaking and distorting. That sounds really, really bad. So ideally you want it sort of around this level where it is in the yellow and a little bit into the red, but again, definitely not touching the top. So we might bring this down just a little bit. We'll grab this slider here and just lower it down a little. Now, because all of our audio here was recorded same time, same microphone, the audio is going to be pretty consistent across this entire track. Now, if we did want to adjust our audio on a clip-by-clip basis, we can come over and select our clip. And when you put your mouse over this little faint line here, this is your volume line, we can click on it and we can drag up and down. So you can see that we're lowering our volume here and our audio waveform is getting smaller, or we can actually stretch this up and increase our volume here at this point as well. So that's how you can adjust your audio on the entire clip. But what if there's one little section that we wanted to make louder or quieter and not affect the rest of the clip? If we Alt or Option click on our audio track, just so we've got just that audio clip selected and not the video piece, come up here to our blade tool or press B on the keyboard, then we could cut out that section. And then we go back to our arrow cursor, or press A on the keyboard, and you can see here that we have that little volume indicator that we can now increase or decrease just that section of the audio. So we'll undo that now and I'll show you one other way, just Command Z or Control Z till we've undone all of that. The other way you can do it is to select your clip, come up to the top here for audio. If you're not seeing that, you can double click on the clip and then you've got your audio panel which will show up on the top here. Go across to where you want to start making adjustments to your audio, and you can use the left and right arrows on the keyboard to really dial this in. And you can adjust the settings up here as well. So we're going to add what's called a keyframe. We're going to select that keyframe there. We'll come across a little bit in our timeline, using the arrow keys, and we'll add another keyframe. Let's go across to the other end of this, add another keyframe. We'll move across a little bit further and add one more keyframe. Lots of keyframes. Now, if we click and select on that little circle, that's that keyframe we just added, and we shift click on the second one there, now we can boost or lower the volume here just for that section. And if we want to expand this out and get some more control over it, you've got this little symbol down here showing the keyframes. If we click on that, we're able to see this a little bit bigger down here, and this is going to give us more control over it. So if we maybe want to stretch this out a little bit on either side, this is essentially where we're starting a fade. So our volume at this level is coming in at, let's call it 100%, and then drops a little bit to wherever we've set it to, and then it starts to transition back to the original volume level after that keyframe. So you can see how easy it is in here to really get a great level of control quite easily in your timeline while you are editing. And to hide this keyframe window, we'll just click on that again, and that is gone. Okay, so we've gone through, we've done the audio on our primary audio track, the spoken piece. Now let's unmute our music and let's get that volume set right as well. Now, there really is no right or wrong with what volume your music should be at, as long as it's not distracting or overpowering, and as long as your viewers can still hear and understand any spoken audio that is on at the same time. Depending on the actual audio track itself and how loud it is and how fast or slow the track is, would typically lower the audio in our YouTube videos down to around 25 to minus 30 decibels. But it really is a case of setting it, playing it, and seeing how it sounds, and then tweaking and adjusting as you need to. Again, there's no right or wrong with this stuff. So we can make that adjustment on the entire music track over here, or you can do it on the actual clip itself as well. So we'll undo that because we've done it on the entire track. So now that you've got your audio levels set, you can go and apply any audio effects or any audio transitions to your audio as well. So if you want to tweak or adjust the way that the audio sounds, you can select your music track or one of your audio clips. You can come up the top here, and you've got some basic tools in here like an equalizer. Or if you come over here to the effects library again, down to audio effects, there's a lot of different things you can apply to your audio here to really tweak and adjust it. And there's also some simple audio transitions here, like a crossfade, in case you want to fade between some of your clips. So if we want a nice soft audio fade between these two, if there's a lot of background noise in one and not in the next, you can soften it by using a crossfade. And as I said earlier, if you're on the more pro side of things or you're looking for way more features and control and stuff, you've got this Fairlight feature or area down here as well, which has all of that in there. So now that you have your audio sorted, the next step is to color grade or color correct your video footage. So for that, we're going to jump across to the color workspace down the bottom here. Now this area is one that we could dive into literally for hours to be able to totally master this. This is a beginner tutorial, so I'm going to show you some of the beginner things that you can look at to get your videos looking good, but I do want to stress that this is not an advanced tutorial by any means. And this is top level professional grade video editing software, specifically color grading software and tools in here as well. So we are definitely only covering the basics here. So once again, we've got our playback monitor here, which is our preview of what our video is looking like. We have all of our clips here from our timeline. In this area up here, this is where we can have all of our nodes or essentially layers that we're able to apply different effects and color grades and controls to. And down the bottom here are all our color adjustment tools, and we can switch between them using the buttons across the top here. And then over the side here, we've got our keyframes once again to really get granular control and to animate and tweak some of these effects that you're going to apply. Again, this is going to be a really quick overview. So the first place that you want to start in here is by enabling the scopes over here by pressing this button. This gives you a visual representation of the shot for how bright and dark everything is, but also the different color levels as well. So once I've got that on, the next place that I'll come across to is the lift to the little slider down the bottom of it. I'm dragging this to the left or to the right to really set the brightness of the dark areas in my shot. Now, as we move this slider left and right, you can see in that scopes panel on the side that is updating as well. It's giving us, again, a visual representation of what is going on in our shot. So as I make those black areas brighter, we're seeing everything move up. As I make it darker, we're seeing everything move down towards that 0 line. So a really general rule here is that you don't want to go below that bottom line and you don't want to go above that bottom line. And wherever your colors or whatever areas are hitting that top line or the bottom line, you're actually going to be losing information or having areas that are too dark or too bright in those areas. So once I've adjusted the lift or the dark areas of the shot, I'll then come across to the gain to adjust the bright areas or the whites in the shot. And again, if I grab that slider down the bottom, you see that if I pull it down, we're darkening the shot or darkening those whites. And if I pull it back the other way, we are blowing out the whites. We're going well above that line. So I'll drop it down to somewhere around there. So we've done the dark areas, we've done the bright areas. Next, we're going to look at the mid-range colors and your skin tones. And once again, we're going to grab that slider down the bottom and adjust it to where we would like it. Now to tweak and adjust the colors even more in your shots, this is where you want to start using these actual color wheels. And you can just grab this center point and move it around to add or remove a certain color. So if we want to add more warmth to our shot, more yellow, more orange, we can grab this slider and move it towards the orange section, towards the orange colors around this way. You can see that we've added more orange or more warmth to our shot in the mid-tones area. So using these little circles here and really just some minor adjustments, we can make some simple tweaks to really dial in the look and feel of our shot. Okay, so now that I've got the lift, the gamma, and the gain sorted, the next settings we're going to play with are down the bottom here, contrast and saturation as the two primary ones. So come down the bottom here to contrast, put your mouse over this section and move your pointer to the left and to the right. You're able to make further adjustments to the contrast in your shot. Then we'll jump across to the saturation, which is the amount of color. So if we again click and move this all the way down to 0, you see we've removed all the color at 0. 50 was the start point, the midpoint, but if we go beyond that, then we're boosting the colors dramatically. So for this one, I'm only going to increase it just a little bit. Let's go around 52, somewhere around there. And likewise with the hue, we can make some adjustments here as well. If we move to the left, we're adding more green. And if we move to the right, it's going to be more pink. Again, we are really only covering the basics here. But just to show you, this is what our shot looked like before, and this is what it is currently looking like. So it's a subtle difference, but definitely looks better. Now, if you want to apply all these settings to the other clips in the video, there's a couple of different ways that you can do it. The first one is to come up here, right click on this area and choose grab still. You see we've got a still added up here, and then we can apply the settings from that still to any of the other clips in our timeline here. So if we select our next clip here that we want to apply it to, we can then come up to this one and choose apply grade. And that is now applied. Now, another way that we can apply these settings or these grades to other clips is that we can select the one that we want to apply. So let's go back to our first one here. We'll come over here to this node, click on it so that it's selected, press Control C or Command C to copy that node and those effects, and come across to the clip that we want to apply it to, and then paste it with Command V or Control V, and that is pasted. So that's the primary camera footage that we've done. You can also apply all of these same things to all of your B-roll or overlay footage as well. So once you've got all of your color correction or color grading done, the next step is to export your video. And for that, you want to come down to deliver, so we can deliver your video out. Now up the top corner here is where you can get everything set up for your export. So if you've got specific settings that you're looking to use, you can key all of those in here. You've got the basic settings and you've got more advanced settings down under here too. But you've also got presets up the top here for places like YouTube and Vimeo. And if you are going to use either one of those two, then these are a great place to start. So all you need to do is select on, say, YouTube, click the little arrow next to it, choose if you want to export in 720p, 1080, or 2160p, 4K. So for us, we've got a 1080p project. Let's just select 1080p. We can give our file a name, Justin Edit. We can hit browse to choose where we want this to go. Let's just put it into movies. And if you'd like, there is the option here to upload your file directly to YouTube once the export has complete. Now, personally, I don't use this. I'd rather have the file on the computer myself, preview it, make sure it's all good, and then upload it when I'm ready, than to have Davinci Resolve automatically upload it to our channel. So once you're happy with your settings, just hit add to render queue. This will pop up on the side over here, and you will need to then hit start render. And that will go through and start saving out your video. Once that's done, you'll want to play back your video, make sure it's all good. Obviously, if you've got any changes to it, then you want to come back into Resolve, make those changes and export it again. But what I would strongly recommend is that you are previewing or playing back your video on a couple of different devices. Things like your computer, your phone, your iPad if you've got one, just to see what it looks like and just to see that you're happy with the overall look and feel of your video on multiple devices, especially because that's where a lot of people are consuming your content these days. So once you're happy with that, then your video is done and it is ready for upload. So that is a complete editing walkthrough using DaVinci Resolve for beginners.
Now, earlier in this video, I said I would share with you a link to where you can download our free PDF guide, the Primal Video Method, the most efficient way and effective way to edit your videos down with minimal wasted time and rework. And this will work no matter which video editing software or app you are using. So to grab your copy, there is a link on screen now. There's also below in the description, and I'll see you in the next video.